What's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? This is Derek in the Midwest. I'm back again because the Alex Jones Glenn Beck media Psy-op continues. Glenn Beck on the 9th of December made some real interesting statements. He went further than he ever has before. He still led you in a false direction as to who's leading the New World Order. However, he did make some interesting statements about I'm going down swinging, and that's where the Psy-op comes in. They want you to believe that Glenn Beck is a true American patriot and that his intentions are genuine, and that is not at all the case. We know that the powers that be control the mainstream media and even the alternative media, really, to the extent where if Glenn Beck was truly doing anything to damage the status quo, he would be taken off air, he would be killed. They would take care of him in some way. He would either be taken off air and had his show canceled for some, reason or excuse or another, or they would just outright end his life, which would be pretty extreme, but we've seen it happen before. Aside from this, Alex Jones is going more and more mainstream. We're going to show you some clips giving examples of each of these things that I previously mentioned. So without further ado, the Alex Jones Glenn Beck media Psy-op continues.
I'm going to try to be as clear as I possibly can. But I want you to listen. I want you to DVR this show right now, and I want you to burn it to DVD, and I want you to share it.
No, wait a minute. Was that Glenn Beck or was that Alex Jones?
I'm going to try to be as clear as I possibly can. But I want you to listen. I want you to DVR this show right now, and I want you to burn it to DVD, and I want you to share it.
Okay, that's what I thought. That was Glenn Beck. This is Alex Jones.
Hello, friends. Alex Jones here for Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA. Everyone needs to see this film. And once you get the DVD, to make as many copies as you can and to give them to everyone in your community.
You can go to prisonplanet.tv and download a high-quality DivX version to burn to disc or DVD to give to your friends, your family, your neighbor, and your community. I also want to challenge all the viewers out there to take time out, to write notes as you watch this film, and to check all the claims that we've made for yourself. Because I'm confident in the information presented here. And I want you to not trust me, but to know for yourself.
I'm going to try to be as clear as I possibly can. But I want you to listen. I want you to DVR this show right now. And I want you to burn it to DVD, and I want you to share it. And I please, I ask you not to take anything I say as gospel. I ask you, please, to do your own homework.
No wonder it was so difficult to tell them apart.
The people you're up against have buried themselves in our government, and they have been wearing masks for a long time, but they're about to take those masks off. And understand, they want control of every aspect of your life because the world is about to change. And while they try to convince you that it's not, it is, and they know it is. They want to control every aspect of life to make society more just, but from their perspective. 2 years ago, as I was trying to figure out how far along are they, I put a list together, and this is just some of them. If I were going to take over the United States, what would I need? What would I need to do? Well, you'd have to control the financial sector. They did it with the financial bill. They control everything in the financial sector. You'd have to control healthcare, who lives, who dies. You'd have to control industry. That can be done through the financial sector. It can be done through taxes, and it can also be done through bailouts, just taking them, like GM. You'd need to control the military. This one is really tough, because the military is not going to be, they protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Please, dear God, if you are listening to me in any part of the world, and you are military, please, dear God, please remember your oath to the Constitution of the United States. Because this is the only peace they can't get. Now, they can bleed them dry, they can tire them out. Do you know that yesterday Yesterday, they just passed a spending budget. We have tons of money in it for new regulation. Who uses that regulation? Cass Sunstein. If you've listened to the show ever, I've told you he's the most dangerous man in America. Tons of new money for new regulation. But do you know that we just gave our military the smallest raise in the last 50 years? But all kinds of new money for new federal employees and regulation. But not the military. That's how they're going to do it. Stress them, push them, stretch them. And in history, they have done it before, not in this country, but others, by just not paying them. Then you have to grow dependence. You have to get people dependent on the government. Then you have to control the media and control food prices. Well, they've done this. Not this, but they're working on it. They're doing this. They just passed the food bill for your safety. Remember, everything is done for your safety. And now, the media. There are talking heads on television, and there are people that get their information from other journalists.
Well, speaking of Glenn Beck, it turns out a lot of the content for his show comes out of research and ideas taken from another show, The Alex Jones Show. People started to notice some strange similarities, and then a Fox News insider verified it, that Glenn Beck employees actually listen to and report back to their boss, who takes the ideas and then retools it to his style.
What he does is he takes true libertarian or constitutionalist, populist ideas this country was founded on and repackages it for people to believe that people like Newt Gingrich and the mainline Republicans are real change. And we saw Obama do this a year and a half ago when he first got in. I came on RT and said he'll be one of the most hated presidents. His approval ratings will plunge very, very fast because Obama himself is just reading off a teleprompter and works for these same big corporations in the military-industrial complex. He's the left-wing, neoliberal system to con the population. Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin and others, they are the right-wing version of that, but they're financed by the very same system. What we have here is a continuity of agenda. And Glenn Beck will also blame everything on Obama when Obama is basically just a figurehead. He'll say Obama is putting Americans on secret hit list. Obama is sending out 500 mobile X-ray vans to look through our walls. But all of that began under Bush. So the issue here is he's not very honest about where the real tyranny is coming from, and that's the power behind the throne. So Beck basically tells the truth on a lot of issues, but then he blames it on mid-level scapegoats and makes us believe that, you know, if we'll just vote for Republicans, we'll be okay.
You see, everything that Alex Jones just said is perfectly true. However, he does not keep this position on this issue. He flip-flops, and every day that goes by, every week that passes, he gets closer and closer to the mainstream, and he cozies up more and more towards Glenn Beck and the other people at Fox News, such as Andrew Napolitano. And as you'll see in the next part of the Alex Jones, Glenn Beck media psy-op, now we also have Geraldo Rivera.
This staff works tirelessly to figure out what is going on in this world. We don't like what we found, but we found it. Mr. Soros met with the people on this program and told us to back off, sent me a very clear message. And one of the message was, global change is here. The nouveau ordre is here, and you are either on board or you are not. Shortly after, Soros starts openly funding progressive outlets that boycott this show. Back to McChesney. He says it's time to take the media, just like the unions. Now, yesterday, the government union, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, has decided to boycott, coincidentally, me, Rush, and John Stossel. This is a coordinated attack. This is like the fourth or fifth time they're boycotting me and Fox News. And all they have left is the media. They have everything else. Oh, they control your food and how it's grown and everything. Financial sector, healthcare, industry. They don't have this one, but they're working on it. This one. I ask you to please watch these shows and burn them to DVD. Go over them and do your own homework, please. Burn them to DVD and share them with your friends.
You can go to prisonplanet.tv and download a high-quality DivX version to burn to disc or DVD to give to your friends, your family, your neighbor, and your community. I also want to challenge all the viewers out there to take time out, to write notes as you watch this film, and to check all the claims that we've made for yourself, because I'm confident in the information presented here, and I want you to not trust me, but to know for yourself.
All of the information that we share is available to other journalists, but I don't know why they don't report on it. I've given up trying to understand. I don't care anymore. This is the year that you will read in history books that the superpower torch was handed from us to China. That's why real power like Soros can look at my guy and say the ship has sailed. But the reason why you don't see this on TV is I think people are choosing sides. They've been forced to choose sides. A lot of people, they've made their decisions. They've made their decision already. They like this new world order. I don't. I happen to like this guy. I happen to believe in this stuff. Well, this is corny now. Nobody even knows this stuff anymore. I made my choice. I'm going down swinging with peace and love in my heart. And this man on my lips, I'm going down swinging. Coincidentally, the FCC now just happens to be, out of all times, be using the WikiLeaks news to justify government expanding their reach and regulating the internet through net neutrality. I've told you before, these guys don't plan weeks, even months ahead. They plan years ahead. Net neutrality is not a response to WikiLeaks. I think it's the other way around. They've had it in the cooker for quite some time. They just haven't created the right problem yet. And the media seems to be a problem. You're a problem. They haven't been able to nudge the bottom up yet, but they're getting closer. I've never said these words except as a joke, but I mean them now with everything in me. My fellow Americans, please listen to me. The world has changed. It has changed. It's no longer in the box that it always has been. What used to apply no longer does. And if you don't start thinking out of the box soon, the top will come down on top. You must think out of the box. You cannot look at today's problems and try to understand them or solve them in the ways we always have. You must understand you are in a revolution, a global revolution, whether you like it or not. And the rules of the games have changed. Who can run the rest of the world, or who can run this area and give the service and the energy and everything else to China? Revolutionaries have plotted our demise for a very long time. Do not play the game they were expecting you to play. They're expecting you to continue to think in the box. Why do you think they've tried so hard to get us off the air? They know we have the answer. They know. And here it is. You must not move as they expect you to move. They are playing three-dimensional chess. I think it was Claire McCaskill in Missouri that had Homeland Security in Missouri say the Tea Party people are violent. They expected you to be violent, and you weren't. 828 threw them for a loop. Why do you think they work so hard to poke and to poke and to poke? They need you to be violent. Well, if you won't do it, they'll get their minions to do it. It's a trap. WikiLeaks is just such an easy one to point out. They've set a trap for you. Option number one, the leaks continue. Chaos. We cannot do business. Option number two, people cry out to shut down WikiLeaks, and they do by shutting down the internet and our communication with one another. It is bottom up, top down. Bottom up must rise up and turn us inside out, and the top will come down. You lose either way.